Do here is we're going to use these directions at the top where it tells us first we're going to draw some force diagrams for the objects, then we're going to include all the forces, then we're going to write those action statements that we were doing back in Unit 5. You'll notice that I left the type of the force out. We're really focusing on the agent and the receiver here because that's going to help us define the force here, and then we're going to make sure we circle the action and the reaction pair. So our scenario here is that we have a cake sitting on a stand. Okay, so we're going to draw a diagram for the cake and for the stand. So we've got our dot for the cake and our dot for the stand. And you can't really see it yet, but we're going to uncover all these forces. So we're going to start with the first force that I could think of, which was the normal force. Okay, for each of these, they're both sitting on something. So the cake stand is sitting on, the cake is sitting on the cake stand. So I drew that force. So the cake stand is holding the cake up. And there it is right there. There's the force, the normal force is holding up the cake, and the table or whatever it's sitting on is holding up the cake stand. So those forces are both pointing up, okay? Now gravity is acting on both of them as well. Gravity is pulling the cake down, Earth is pulling the cake down, and Earth is also pulling cake stand down. So those forces are both there. And then because the cake is sitting on the cake stand, and if something was sitting on you, you would feel that too. That force is also there, and that one is only pushing down on the cake stand. That's the cake pushing down on it, so I drew that force as well. So there it is right there. Now I need to find and circle the action-reaction pair. Now remember, when we did this in the last lesson, we were really just switching the action, or the agent and the receiver. So I'm going to find those guys right here. There's the cake stand pushing on the cake. And here is the cake pushing on the cake stand. So that is my action and reaction pair. And notice that the up and the down have been switched. And so I just have to find those forces. Here's one, and here is the other. Notice that they're pointing in the opposite direction, and that they're not acting on the same object. That's how we know that they're not canceling each other out, because they're not acting on the same object. Notice that I drew them about the same size, and that they're pointing in the opposite direction. So that is one example. We'll have a few more here in just a minute.